Hi, I'm Randy Altman with Post Perspective. I'm here with Gordon Burkell from AOTG and The Assembly, which is a new magazine that he's developed. And we're going to jump right into it. I mean, you've got fresh content and you're also curating content from other places. So let's go through how it began.
Yeah, well, AOTG.com basically pulls in streams of information from around the world. And so our whole belief and thought is that knowledge is a right and should be as easily accessible as possible, and we should make it as easily accessible as possible. So we built the system to share content. So if you have a blog or a website or a company, you can post. We don't, as long as it's post-production focused, you can post. And then basically we amass this we have 45,000 submissions. And it's growing by a couple hundred each day.
But you get to pick, because Post Perspective is actually one of the websites that gets curated. But you could pick what topics you're more interested in, right? So
so the site allows you to drill down. So if you're like, oh no, I don't want to see any VFX, you can turn that off. And we have a lot of professors using it, so they turn off everything but the theories for their students.
Really?
Things like that. So. Yeah, and we were sort of sitting there going, what do you do with 45,000 pieces of information? And so we decided to create an interactive magazine application that sort of places the content within the articles you're reading. So the idea is that as you're reading the article, it will scan our database and connect content to the article.
Really? So give an example.
Well, you wrote the article for us on NOAA, so I'll just open this up. And so if I go to the article...
You want to lift it up?
Sorry. So we're at the article for NOAA, and swipe it, and there's the interview. But if I'm a fan of Andrew Weisblum, I can just tap the button up in the corner, and all of a sudden it scans our database, connects to the database, and every interview he's done, every video he's in, any articles about him all appear along the side. And you can tap on them, bring them up, read them, and go back to the article you're reading. And then one of the things I did, just because I'm a fan of this, is sort of searching out new ideas. So one of the articles this time around was we tracked down a neuroscientist who specializes in studying how edits affect the mind. And so basically we put an article about all his research and how everything I thought I knew about editing is wrong.
And you're a professional editor.
Yeah, well, it was somewhat wrong. Because, everyone always says, rapid cutting's bad, it's sloppy or what have you, from that MTV style they'll refer to it as. And his research discovered that there's a thing, depending on your youth, will determine how you interpret cuts. So if you were raised in Europe, you're more likely to prefer a slow cut process, hence the film style that's developed there. Yeah. And they say that's based on their history and what's happened there. And then North America, it's a faster based culture and a go mentality. So what's happened is people want faster things, and there's a theory that he pulls from called Infovore, which is information carnivore, and the idea is that in North America we want so much information constantly. That's why you see the news reels. All of a sudden we have the center here, we have tickers here, we have lines underneath.
Because, and then there's like a little head that's talking and you barely see.
Well, it excites the mind, right? So in his research, they could see the eyes tracking and moving and getting excited when more content was happening. So you can see in his research, we have when jump cuts were occurring, the mind started getting more active and excited in the process. And when it was slowed down, the mind was lulling and getting bored. And so it changed because,
I would think it would be the opposite. I would think that, slower cuts would be able to take in the content and think about it.
Yeah.
And the fast cuts, sometimes I think they're too distracting.
Yeah. That's what he says. It depends on your youth.
Yeah.
Because so he was saying the older generations will hate the MTV style because they're used to the 70s and 60s films, right? And so it's this whole, it's a really fascinating thing. And then we also, because magazines are really just text at the moment, we decided let's start adding stuff. So as you're reading, so in this case, we have the audio from the interview with him. So you can actually just tap the button and it brings up the actual audio from us talking to him. And because the interview was a couple hours long, so the article is very cut down from what the interview actually is. So if you listen to the interview, you hear everything.
So additional content.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
So it's about getting this stuff out, and it's all free because we believe in getting that knowledge out and sharing it.
Yeah. And partnering with others, and that's sort of the beauty of it. It's
Yeah.
sort of everybody working together to help.
Yeah. It's the
educate.
idea is like if you know something, anyone watching, and you don't see it on our site, just either post it yourself. You can log in, post it, or you can send us an email, and I'll post it and make sure it gets out there.
It's very cool. And so, how can people find it?
They can go to the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store, and it's search for AOTG. We actually have 2 apps, and it's the black one, the Assembly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thanks,
you.
Gordon. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Randy Altman, Post Perspective, NAB 2014. Thanks.